we see if Bertine can come next week for the meeting.
Yeah. Already, assistant.
Okay,
I'm sure he will.
Ricky and Jimmy still gotta sign.
Oh, Jimmy, if you wanna sign.
I'd like to call this caucus meeting to order. As always, you'll be looking for a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the second regular meeting dated Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025, and a special meeting minutes from the meeting Wednesday, November 5th, 2025, except prepared by the clerk. We've got 7 pieces of communications. Is there any communications, questions on communication?
I think maybe Anthony could answer for the communication just for this, code enforcement report. Are these addresses that have been cited, or are these just ones that he checked up on?
It could be both.
It's all of
Yes.
them all together. So any complaints he's had this month, these are them?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any others on communications? Mayor's report, Mayor Miller.
The food pantry distribution at Christ Our Savior Food Pantry is supported by KFC Council for 4471 and Second Harvest Food Bank. Will hold one more food giveaway on Monday, November 24th from 9:15 to 10:30 at the new permanent location at 764 5th Street. The distribution is behind the Great Hall in the rear parking lot. Please enter from Garfield by the Struthers High School football stadium. Solicitation permit. I know we sent out a text message about this and posted on our social media, but we do have an active solicitation permit in the city for Spectrum for Saturdays only from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Victor and Christopher will be in the city of Struthers. AMVETS donates coats. Thank you to AMVETS for donating 45 winter coats to the Salvation Army. To help keep our neighbors warm this season, their generosity truly helps them do the most good and reminds our community that kindness never goes out of style. Struthers Halloween House winners. Congratulations to the 2025 Struthers Halloween House Decorating Contest winners. A huge thank you to all of our residents who went all out this year to make Struthers popular. The overall winner was 2194 Manor, Terry Williams. This house received the most votes on our social media post. The hometown house winner was 250 Harvey, Scott, and Alexis Burry. This house received the most votes from City Hall employees. We want to give a special shout out to Mr. November, who sponsored the trophies this year. The awards are named after and in honor of Scott Burry and everything he does throughout the year to make Halloween special for the city of Struthers. We also want to give a shout out to everyone who participated and helped make Halloween in Struthers such a fun and festive time for families across the city, especially to everyone on Creek Street. Struthers Rotary Garden Club. Thank you to everyone that helped plant red tulips and crocus at the walkway to Motley Hall. Special thanks to Eve for planting creeping Jenny and the planters at the entrance to the park. Looking forward to the profusion of colors in the spring. Dylan's House Caregiver Grants. Dylan's House has announced their Winter 2025 Caregiver Grants. These grants recognize professionals who go above and beyond to improve the lives of individuals with autism. Licensed caregivers working with the individuals with developmental disabilities in Mahoning Valley are eligible to apply or be nominated. Parents and previous winners are not eligible. Applications are due Thursday, November 20th, and winners will be announced November 24th. We should be doing a groundbreaking ceremony on Judith Lane soon. I will notify everybody when that's scheduled. Struthers Christmas Parade. Struthers Christmas Parade is Friday, December 5th, starting at 6 p.m. Please register by clicking the link on our Facebook page or stop in my office and grab a form. Remember, this is for Struthers, only for Struthers businesses, organizations, or residents only. I said only twice. First 50 are guaranteed a spot. Parade registration is due by December 3rd. Pilgrim Baptist Church celebrates 100 years. Congratulations to Pilgrim Baptist Church. Safety Service Director Anthony Larisha and Rachel McCall were able to attend on behalf of the city and present the church and Pastor Parks with a proclamation honoring their 100th year anniversary. Lake City Church Community Dinner. LCC is hosting another free community dinner on November 17th at 6 p.m. at 2 Ohio Street. It's their chili cook-off. Bags of groceries will also be available for anyone in need. And then I wanted to bring this to show council too. We talked about this last week, and I wanted to show you, this was one of the things that we went around with the Struthers Rotary in the van and hung these on some of the doors of some of the residents, which keep up with their houses, just to kind of encourage them. But
Very good.
that's all I got.
Okay, any questions for the mayor? Report of standing committees.
I will have to call also,
Okay.
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Public utilities. Did you get something from Tom Bellish too?
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to have a meeting about that for
Okay,
electric and gas coming up.
Is that?
6 o'clock.
That's what's
That's
on
what
tonight.
we have coming out today.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
cause it has to be,
Oh, I
it
didn't
had to
even
be
see
passed
that.
like a
Then
couple
did you
weeks
just
ago.
do that today?
Yeah,
Oh, cause I was like, I checked my email, I didn't see
Yeah.
that. Okay, so you have it on there today, so we don't have to talk about this. Okay.
So you're not having one then?
No,
Okay.
no, I didn't see that, sorry.
Any other committees?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a zoning and annexation meeting at 6 o'clock. The people on the committee is Jim Ballack, Lori, and myself.
Call finance and legislation meeting, to follow on November 19th.
Any other committees? We got one piece of legislation.
Go ahead and convene.
Oh, is that an add-on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, then, yeah, go ahead and convene your committee.
Calls finance and legislation meeting to order. Mr. Burnside.
Here.
Mr. Ballard. Here. Mr. Bigley is present. We have one piece from the mayor, and it is an ordinance authorizing and directing the city of Struthers to enter into a contract with Dynegy Energy Services East LLC as the electric supplier for the city of Struthers electric accounts and declaring an emergency. Need a motion to bring it out.
Motion to bring it up.
Need a second.
Second.
Motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.
Okay. Now we'll go into legislation. We got one piece of legislation. Any questions or comments on that? We're gonna go on unfinished business, and I'm gonna ask, Judge Malone wishes to talk to us on an update on the courtroom, so I think since this is unfinished business, we'll let him talk now.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Judge.
So with regard to the court renovations, unfortunately, a little slower than I had hoped. We submitted, had the architect submit the job out for bid. The bids came back significantly higher than I was hoping to see. I thought that maybe the architects didn't submit the bids out to enough contractors to maybe make it more competitive. So we are meeting on Friday, and we're going to work on getting the job resubmitted for bid out to a larger number of contractors, hopefully to bring in better.
So are you guys publicizing the bid?
No,
You don't have like an RFP that you were.
we do not.
Okay.
We're not required to do that, but I wanted to make it as public as possible. I was hoping that our architects would have more contacts to get it out there to the general public, and I just don't think that it went out to enough contractors. So we're gonna try it again, try to get some better quotes, and then take it from there. So I'm hoping on Friday we'll get that resubmitted and see what the results are.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I do have another issue, but it's not new. Should I
Go
talk
ahead.
about it now?
Go ahead.
Okay. So the second thing I wanna talk about tonight is, I have started the journey of working to convert Struthers Municipal Court from a part-time to a full-time court. And, it's quite a job to do that. But one of the steps, so the step to do this is that that legislation would have to be submitted in Columbus, and it would have to be approved and of course signed off by the governor. So the court is a statutory court, so it would be done by statute. And my hope is that council and the mayor's office will join me in support for converting the court from part-time to full-time. I think that it's high time that happens, and I can talk about this for 5 minutes or an hour. I don't know
So
how much.
does that go to, we would be going from 3 days a week to 5? How does that impact our?
So you have to remember, so a full-time court doesn't mean that we're in session 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. It means that I become a full-time judge rather than a part-time judge. And then that makes me available to the court, full-time. So I wouldn't do other things. Right now, because I'm a part-time judge, I have a part-time law practice, and I do some other things outside of my part-time position as a judge. So if I became full-time judge, then this would be the only thing that I do. And I think that there's some great benefits to that. I can pass out for you, I printed off some statistics. If you want to pass those
Yeah.
around, I can show you. So statistically, I think that the court, that it certainly supports converting the court from part-time to full-time, but there's certainly some other really important reasons that I think that we need to do that. The role of a judge has changed over the years. You know, it used to be, you know, the judge's only role was to call court into session, we bust through as many cases as we can. You know, if it's a criminal case, if the person is found guilty, we sanction that person and we move on. If it's a civil case, I determine whether or not there's evidence for a judgment, issue the judgment and move on. The courts they just aren't that anymore. The expectations of a judge the role has really expanded. You know, when I go down to Columbus and we have our judicial conferences, you know, the focus is always about fundamental fairness and access to justice. And we talk about that all the time. So as I think about that, I start comparing Struthers Court to, say, the city of Youngstown, for instance. And the city of Youngstown has 2 full-time judges. I'll get into the stats in a minute. But so the city of Youngstown has 2 full-time judges. And the caseload for each of those judges is very similar to my caseload. And these stats allow me to break it down by judge and not by court. So now we have Judge DeSalvo and Judge Baldwin, who are fantastic judges, they're good friends of mine, and they do a great job. But they're able to manage their docket, and because of their full-time, it's all the other things that are important. You know, they have specialty dockets. You know, they have a drug court, they have grace court for human trafficking victims. They have, I think Judge DeSalvo is working on a mental health court. So you end up in this situation where if somebody commits a crime a couple miles down the road, they have all of these options for services to help these people so they don't reoffend. We don't have recidivism. We don't have people that, you know, graduate into higher and more serious crimes. Where now we have our, you know, our local constituents as victims of crime. So I start thinking about it. So now you commit a crime and you're in the city of Struthers or Poland, New Middletown, Springfield, Lowville, and we just don't have those things.
Yeah, but our crimes have to be, to go fall into our jurisdiction, they have to be a misdemeanor as well, correct? Whereas Youngstown is a felony court system, no?
No, Youngstown Community Court is the exact same type of court
As
as
ours,
Struthers. The
okay.
only difference is they are a full-time court versus us being a part-time court. So not only do you have, you know, those type of programs that those judges can, you know, they have the time to do, it's also, you know, community engagement. You know, if you follow Judge Baldwin on Facebook, she spends a lot of time involved with the community, going into schools, you know, meeting with groups of kids and, you know, taking the courtroom into a school so a government class can see how a court operates. They're also involved with the Ohio Judicial Conference, where they have prominent roles, you know, with that conference, which, you know, puts us on the map in the state of Ohio. You know, it makes us known and it creates a good reputation for the court in Columbus. So, you know, all of those things are happening in full-time courts that, quite honestly, as much as I want to do those things, I just don't have the time. You know, when we come here, and I think John would probably attest, when we come, you know, it's triage. It's, you know, handling cases as fast as we can in a, 4-hour, sometimes 5-hour span where we just bust out cases one after another. And, you know, if we have an issue with the case and we have to, you know, I have to get off the bench so we can talk about the case in my office, now we have people just sitting there and waiting because we have so many people that are waiting to get into court. And there's just, you know, we just don't have that wiggle room to deal with a specific case or a specific issue because, you know, there's always somebody waiting and there's more and more. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So, changing over to a full-time court, would that be affecting your salary?
It would, yes.
Who would be paying for that?
So there would be an increase with the city of Struthers. So the way a judge's salary works is that it's paid by 3 funding sources. The state of Ohio pays the majority of the salary, and then locally there's a split between the city and the county. The city pays 60% of that salary, of the local portion, and the county pays 40% of that, and that's all done by statute. So there would be, I did the math, and for the city of Struthers, there would be an increase of $15,750 per year.
Budgetarily, are we able to do that?
I'd have to talk to Chrissy.
Yeah, and
Would that-
John, are
would we have to
you,
increase staff?
well, that also increases your workload as well.
Yeah, that would be my
I don't
question.
know how, as the judge said, just because the court might be full-time, doesn't necessarily mean that court's gonna be in session every day. So I don't know what that's gonna look like if it does. I mean, it could very well go full-time and we could stay Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the way
And
it is.
how do you feel
I-
about that,
About,
if you had to do that?
well, I would like, I've already kinda had some preliminary discussions with the judge. I'd like to, I told him that I'd like to see what that looks like. I mean,
And
I don't-
obviously,
I
you
can't
would,
really
you
answer
would,
the
you would,
question right now.
I mean, let's be honest, you would want more money to do that, wouldn't you?
Again, we gotta see, I don't know, I mean, theoretically,
yeah,
if
listen,
I'm putting it,
He
Take
wants
on
more
more
money to
cases.
do what he does now. Of course
But
that,
what I'm
like-
concerned is, I mean, we have a yearly budget, and
Yeah.
are we budgetly able to handle such an increase?
Would the revenue increase as well for that?
So, I don't know, is the true answer. What I do know is that, you know, it's one of those things where you have more time, you're gonna kind of grow into the space that you have.
Right.
So the answer is potentially yes, but, you know, I don't have any statistics to show that. You know, so our operations in the court, none of that would change, that would all stay exactly the same, cause the whole staff is already full-time. And, you know, whether that increase in caseload is minimal or, you know, more than minimal, you know, we have the staff that will handle that. You know, but when we talk about staffing though, you know, a big problem that we have right now is because all of our cases are condensed into such a short time period, you know, I run into the issues of burnout with the staff in the court. Just the pressure of dealing with all of those cases in a such a truncated period of time. You know, if that is spread out a bit, and you know, and considering John and his schedule, you know, not everything that we do is in the courtroom, number one, and not every case that we have, we need the prosecutor there. So we can expand our schedule to lessen some of that pressure during the week that wouldn't affect John at all. So, you know,
When would you like this to go into effect?
I think the sooner the better. I mean, it would make sense to, of course, start on a beginning of a certain year. As I've looked at other courts that have converted from part-time to full-time, you know, usually they started, you know, I've seen some actually started during the middle of the year, but generally it's beginning January 1 of, you know, the following year, something to that effect. And I don't know how quickly legislation would move through Columbus. So that would still have to be introduced and voted on.
Are they on a fiscal year, like from January to December as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah.
So, okay.
So, but let me look at let me just review the stats with you real quick, just so you can kind of see what we're dealing with. So if you look at the first page, you see, these are, number of incoming cases by years. You have from 2020 to 2024. So you can see in 2024, that number has jumped to 4,385 cases. You know, coming, you know, up from 3,159 in 2020, and then you can kind of see go up and down those next couple years until you get to 2024. These stats are from the Ohio Supreme Court website. They have their statistics there that we can access. So you can see that the caseload has jumped significantly. If you look at the next page, what this indicates is the average monthly overage cases and our clearance rates on cases. And you can see that I've brought down those cases quite a bit, but you know, that certainly comes at a cost. It comes at a cost of, you know, the staff really, you know, working hard to make sure that these cases are
So
getting.
that's been neglected for quite a few years, so.
It was before, not
Yes,
anymore, I
right.
promise you that. But, you know, but we get to the point though, that when I'm sitting in court and I'm asking Cheryl, you know, my bailiff, I wanna get this in by a certain date because I wanna make sure that cases are being completed timely. You know, she looks at me and just shrugs, like, I don't have a spot to put this case, you know, because we can only do so many cases in a week, because we have that limited schedule. But then if you flip the page one more time, and this is kind of where you get into the stats. Now, so the Struthers Court candidly is not the biggest or the busiest court in the state of Ohio by any means. But it is certainly, the caseload that we have is certainly within, within the other courts that have full-time dockets and full-time judges. So this dashboard allows me to sort cases by incoming cases per judge, and I put a line kind of down the middle there so you could see that. And these aren't all the cases. So in the state of Ohio, we have 130 municipal courts. There are about 8 court left that are part-time. So there's certainly a trend moving away from part-time to full-time courts. And I think it's because of all these reasons I've talked about, is that there's just not enough time to do the job and do it properly on a part-time schedule. So if you kind of flip through, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, so the second page of those stats, if you look at that, you'll see at the very top, it says Youngstown Municipal Court. And if you move over, you'll see that each judge in Youngstown Muni Court has 4,554 cases per year. If you go down a couple, you'll see Struthers Court, I'm at 4,385 cases per year. You'll see Cleveland Municipal Court, they have 12 judges, but each of their judges are carrying, a little over 4,400 cases. And then you have Dayton right below me. But the big difference between those courts and Struthers Court is they all have elected clerks. So they're not responsible for their clerk of courts. I appoint my clerk, which makes me responsible for that office. So that includes all the administrative responsibilities of running a clerk's office on top of running the court. And when I say these things, I'm not complaining about my job. I love doing this job, and it's a lot of work, and I'm okay with doing that. I asked for this job, but I want to do it at a high level. I want to make sure that the residents of the court's jurisdiction, including the city of Struthers, are getting all the services that they're entitled to.
Yeah, you just see it way more efficient as a full-time than you do as a part-time, correct?
Absolutely. So efficient for sure, because it allows. So for instance, we had a suppression hearing not too long ago, and for me to hear that motion, and then write a decision, for me to find the time to set aside a couple hours to write that decision is next to impossible. So now a decision that I would hope to have out in a week, may take a couple weeks or more than that, because finding the time to do that is next to impossible. Because when I walk in, there are cases waiting, and there are some days I don't get off the bench. I start, and as I get on the bench, John is busting through his cases, and they start coming into the courtroom, and I don't get off. I refuse to allow cases to sit there and have people sit in the courtroom while I'm not in the courtroom calling cases. So I'm working as fast as I can to get through our cases. So it just doesn't allow me to administer a case maybe as quickly as I should, and that's just not fair to either the defendant that's waiting for a decision, maybe a victim that's involved, a witness involved with the case. They have a right to know the outcome of a case as soon as possible. And if I'm stuck and I can't do that, it's just not fair to them.
If
But-
you would become full-time, do you get an elected, clerk, or you still stay with your same clerk? Would that all stay the same?
That would all stay the same.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be a whole nother bag of legislation to change
To
that.
change that?
Yeah, so but we're not looking to do that.
Okay.
Okay. So if you guys take a look at these stats, you can see, so when you see Struthers Municipal Court, like I said, I'm right in the mix with Youngstown Muni Court, Cleveland Municipal Court, Dayton Municipal Court, and several others. And you'll see that all those courts below, where I've marked them, whether they're part-time or full-time, all those cases below Struthers have a lighter caseload, and those are all still full-time courts. And you can keep flipping, and you'll see, full-time, 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 full-time. And I think that's because, like I said, the trend has been to transfer these courts from part-time to full-time. Now, and the other thing you'll notice is that when you see a CC next to a court, that's a county court, and those are different than municipal courts. All county courts are part-time. So that I don't factor those into the equation because they're just a different animal. But if you keep looking down, you can see some of these courts, you know, way down to the last page where they still have full-time courts, you know, where Pontiac Municipal Court, you know, has 1,500 cases, and they're still, you know, they're already a full-time court. So I think statistically, we're right, you know, in that wheelhouse of where the courts are already, they've already been converted to full-time. And it just allows us to have just a little more wiggle room to do everything that we're required to do administratively, as well as run an efficient court and provide the services to the people coming before the court that they deserve.
So what exactly is the process that would need to happen for you?
So the only process is that legislation would have to be submitted and voted upon in Columbus, and if it's approved and the governor signs off, then it would be converted to a full-time court.
So nothing from this council, technically?
Nothing. So all I'm asking for technically is for you to support the legislation. I've already had some discussions with Senator Al Catrona and Representative Tex Fisher. I've already talked to them about this, and I don't want to go into those conversations at this point, but you know, I certainly wouldn't want to do this without having support of the local funding, first of all. I want the city of Struthers and the mayor to support this legislation, because the county also contributes less than the city of Struthers. But I have a meeting scheduled with the commissioners, and I have a meeting scheduled with Mahoning County Bar Association. So my hope is the city of Struthers, Mahoning County, and the Bar Association all support this legislation.
Okay.
So I've had very positive conversations with all these individuals, but, you know, it's a process.
Would you need a resolution? I'm sorry, a resolution from us, or?
That's what I'm hoping.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when is the pay factor gonna come on board?
Whenever the
Converted.
position was converted to full-time.
So once it gets converted to full-time, then you getting a raise or salary based on that, it will come into play after that,
Yeah, at the same time.
at the same time. What happens if we have a financial glitch and we can't do it right away? I'm
No,
just
so-
hypothetically,
yeah,
like
so-
the mayor
so-
said,
so-
you gotta talk with the auditor.
Right. So I guess what I would hope is that, one, we talk, you talk to the auditor, and if the answer is, can we do this tomorrow? Probably not, but come June of next year or January 1, 2027, that would be more feasible, then, I can at least let the legislators know that, and, they can factor that in as to what the legislation would look like.
And that's something too, when we have budget meetings, that we can discuss at that point too,
Okay.
what that would look like.
So you wanna get this going like now? If you
I
want.
think the sooner the better for the operations of the court and the constituents. I promise every one of you that this isn't for me to get a payday. I do enough outside of the court that, this isn't, I'm trying not to sound like a jackass. I promise you that this isn't a payday for me. I promise you that. But I think it's the right thing to do for the court, and it's something that I'm passionate about, and I think that we all benefit in the long run if our court is providing the necessary services to the community. For instance, City of Youngstown, they have their Steer Clear program, which is fantastic. I mean, the number of driving under suspension charges that we see in this court are just ridiculous and crazy. If we could deal with those people, and help them get a license, because we have more community engagement and involvement, we save some of those issues. I mean, the last thing we want to do is, bury somebody with fees and fines and court costs because they don't have a driver's license, and, and then we have so many times, it's a situation where you have a single parent who's just trying to get their kids to school, and they get stopped every day because the police officer knows they're coming, and they recognize the vehicle, they know they don't have a license, and they stop them, and, and then they're in the court over and over again, and it's sad. It's sad to see these people who just get buried by court fees, because they're just trying to get through their daily life.
And what would you do, like what exactly do you do to help that?
Well, so we have a SLIP program here in our court, so those that are eligible for our SLIP program, I direct them into the SLIP program, and our probation department does a lot to assist them in getting a license. The problem is that a lot of individuals need more help than what our SLIP program can provide. And, when you have a steer clear program like the city of Youngstown does, the city of Warren does, they have all the agencies there necessary to help those people. And a lot of times they go above and beyond, and they do, they address more issues than just their driver's license. But they'll have the Bureau of Motor Vehicles there. They'll have somebody from the clerk of court's office, and all the different steps you need to get a valid license, so people can leave literally that day, and they can have their license, and it saves. And then of course they have other different things to help them out as well. Provide them service, health services, and where you can get this type of help or that help, and so that they do a lot at those programs. I'm just always amazed at how much they do to help people.
So we could get those programs here, is that what you're saying, or no?
Those are things that I want to do,
Those
for
are
sure.
things that we could
Or
do here.
I either do those things myself, or be more involved with the programs that are already happening, and then we can bring individuals from
Those
our court
programs.
jurisdiction down and have, because there's only so many slots when you do those things. So I'd like to, if we're involved, then I can take up some of those slots for our people,
Okay.
or do it ourselves.
Okay.
Sounds good.
As time goes on and you get more information, you're welcome to come back.
Okay. So what's the,
You want us to support a resolution, and you should make one up and give it to us, so we can vote on it.
okay, all right, I'll do that. Thank you, everyone.
Well, I think our other thing too, Jimmy, is, obviously just making
You
sure
look
that
at
we're
finances.
financially, we're able to
Just
support.
have the
You know
conversation
what I
with
mean?
Chrissy.
So I hope that when you talk to Chrissy about the finances, ask her, how the court is doing financially, and the costs that we've cut and the steps that we've taken to try to give as much back to the city as possible. I know that when I came here, that the gap between what the city was funding and what the court was giving back was astronomical. So we are doing our very best to narrow that gap as much as possible.
All the people that are involved in the programs with the court system right now, are they all full-time?
Yes, all employees.
So that, nothing will actually change there then?
I'm sorry, in the clerk's office, I have one part-time employee, but everybody else is full-time. Yeah, so.
Like the probation area, they're all full-time?
Yes,
So,
yeah, so I don't anticipate any
Influx
additional
of-
cost other than that $15,000.
So financially, it's not a very broad impact,
No.
it's pretty much localized because it's only you and potentially
but,
John.
yeah, we have to
You
consider
know,
John.
yeah,
as a big
well,
factor
that's all I'm
as well,
saying,
yeah.
it's just there, it's not the whole court staff, they're
Right.
already.
The two main
Correct.
characters,
Being
Yes.
basically.
funded,
Yes.
right.
I don't know, it sounds like it makes a lot of sense from the standpoint of people going through the court system and really having, the time to have their case looked at in a truly fair way, instead of just, I mean, if I had something
Instead of
going
skipping
on
through
and going
things
through
like
the
that.
courts and,
Yeah.
I felt like I got pushed through, you walk away with the feeling
Yeah,
of
you
not
didn't give us,
being,
you didn't give me a
served
chance.
justice, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so, and, it makes a lot of sense in a number of different ways.
Yeah, when you get that written up, Your Honor, give it to Dallas, and his committee will bring it out for further discussion, and then
Okay,
we can vote on
Yeah,
the floor.
and honestly, I'm not here that much, if you wanna just send it to Megan, that'd be perfect.
all right, sounds good. All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for coming, come back.
Yeah.
And again, we appreciate you.
Thank you
We
very
really do.
much. Have a
Is
good
there
night.
any other unfinished
Judge.
business?
Take care.
New business? You want a new chair? No, my back hurts.
Unfinished business, I don't know if this necessarily falls into that category, but there was a post on Facebook, I don't know if anybody else saw it, it was on, I think it was Ward 2, about people speeding, and there were a bunch of comments afterwards. I think that's, something that, a lot of people in Struthers have that, perception that people speed and fly through stop signs. I know I do. You know, with, I live on a corner, so I got a stop sign right in front of my house, so I see it all the time. So I don't know if there's, what can be done, if anything. I know these, our officers are busy with a lot of different things, but, it's something that it has the attention of a lot of people in Struthers, so.
A lot of people who you represent.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
I can tell you we get calls all the time, and we've switched up the radar detector, so we put it in front of people's houses so they can see, and a lot of times the cars are not going as fast as they think. Some cars are louder than others.
Yeah.
This is not just Struthers, this is every single city. People complain about the stop signs and speeding.
Yeah.
The mayor's meetings, this is the same, everybody complains about their own street constantly. I complain about Brandon, because if we have a truck that doesn't have a muffler that sounds like it's going faster, we put up the radar, and sometimes those people that call and complain, they don't call back after that, cause they're watching
Right.
that. But that's been a constant complaint, I think even before our administration was here.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
constant
Still a point of
thing.
emphasis
But-
that we could,
But I can bring the
Something, if there's
statistics.
something that the police department,
Yeah.
I mean, if
But
they
the rate-
target
yeah.
certain
we could
areas.
rotate it
The
on.
the radar is also a deterrent, when you see it, you're gonna
Yeah.
slow down,
Yeah.
yeah, so.
I don't.
But I
Well,
mean,
that was why we
for the
bought
most
them,
part,
remember a few years ago, we purchased
Yeah.
two of them.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
we wrote the.
To keep them rotating around the city in areas where people were complaining
Right.
about the speeding.
Yeah.
And I can bring statistics too from the police department to show we are pulling people over.
Yeah, oh, I know
was
that
gonna
we are,
say,
I
I've
you've
noticed
given
An
them
increase
to me,
over
yeah.
the years.
We-
They've
Yeah.
been, for the first 3 years, I wasn't hardly seeing any.
Yeah.
And now, in the last couple of years, I've been seeing a lot
Yeah.
more coming through for
I will
Struthers.
say there's one officer that I see, he pulls
Listen,
everybody over. So I mean, every time I see a car pulled over, it's him, every single
Yeah.
time. So it's good to see though, I mean, he's doing his job.
Most importantly during the day when school's in and everything.
Yeah, especially, yeah,
that's-
and
Yeah.
there were a lot of
Big part.
complaints on this one thing about, Elm Street, by the school.
Yes.
Yeah,
So,
By the school's bad.
it
Yeah.
is bad.
Yeah.
Parking, the whole
I
situation.
don't even, I mean, when I take my kids to school, I wouldn't even say it's so much speeding, it's just
Congestion.
Parking right
obnoxious
Stupid
driving,
driving.
obnoxious driving, I mean, that's all it is.
Right.
People not being considerate of other people or
yeah. So,
and we've
just,
even talked since Anthony's been here too, we've talked about maybe before the next school year in the early spring, early summer, sitting down with the schools and seeing if there's any way we can alter some of the drop off and pick up.
Some of the
things like
traffic
Yeah.
flows with that, I think could be a little changed.
Okay, any other unfinished business? New business? Report of a law director, John, do you have anything for council?
I do not.
The auditor's absent. Anthony, do you have anything for council?
Yeah, I'll make it quick for you, but, yeah. I just wanted to thank all of our veterans within the city of Struthers, including our employees and residents for their service to our country. As we recognize Veterans Day, we thank them for their sacrifice and dedication to the freedoms we enjoy today. Downtown Struthers, as you guys might have seen, Aqua Ohio has been doing some repaving, so we just appreciate everyone's patience and cooperation with that. Our street department's officially begun their winter maintenance operations throughout the city. There's preparations in place for the snow and ice removal as we enter the colder months. In addition, the department will continue to pick up leaf bags on Mondays. I know we get calls, we still pass out the brown bags as well in our office. And then I would like to congratulate, we had 2 more employees from our waste treatment plant obtaining their class 3 license. That means we have 7 now in our plant, which is pretty incredible.
Class
That's
3.
pretty good.
Yeah.
So we just wanna thank them for their continued efforts in advancing their skills.
So now we're gonna
Plant.
keep people away from stealing them.
Yeah, that's, they have some good incentives for that, so it's a good thing to see these guys doing that. And then just for a reminder, as winter approaches, I'd like to remind all the residents to exercise caution on the roads, especially during the inclement weather. Please remain alert for police, fire, and emergency vehicles when they're responding to calls or even just out treating the roads. Safe driving is vital to keep both of our first responders and the community members safe. That's a big thing that we see all the time. And they have troubles when people are just clogging up roads and driving like idiots when it's bad conditions, so just be weather alert, please. And also, lastly, a reminder, we're still having some issues. We're trying to educate the people and citizens of the town, but I know Billy goes out every week, he still takes a list. We still have our special or bulk trash pickups. They're scheduled through Republic, so make sure you guys contact Republic Services for that. They're on Thursdays. And that's about all I have.
Any questions for our safety director? If nothing else, motion adjourned.
Make a motion.
Second. Caucus is adjourned.
Just in time.
Just in time, yeah.
Just in time, all right, yeah, just.